My name is Lena. I am 20 years old. I live in a busy city and study at the university. I share a small apartment with my elder sister, Clara. When I was only 10, our parents died in a car accident. Since then, Clara has raised me like her own child. She is not only my sister, but also my mother, my teacher, and my best friend. Clara is strong and kind. I respect her deeply because she sacrificed her own dreams to give me a better life. She works as a literature professor at the university. She is married to Ethan, who also teaches there. He is polite, confident, and well-spoken. People admire him because he is calm and serious. Together, Clara and Ethan look like the perfect couple. Everyone believes their marriage is strong, and for a long time, I believed that too. But love can look perfect until you see what hides behind the smiles. At first, I noticed small things. Sometimes, when we sat together at the dining table, Ethan's eyes were not on his food. They were on me. His gaze made me uncomfortable. I quickly looked away, pretending I didn't notice. I told myself, maybe I'm imagining it. Maybe I'm overthinking. One evening, we were having dinner. Clara smiled and asked about my exams. I started to answer, but when I looked up, I found Ethan watching me closely. His smile was different, not the way a brother-in-law should smile. I felt uneasy and focused only on Clara. That night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't sleep. My thoughts kept returning to Ethan's eyes. I wanted to believe he was a good man. I wanted to believe that my sister's marriage was safe. But deep inside, a quiet voice whispered the truth. Something was wrong. Days passed. Ethan continued to behave politely in front of Clara. But whenever we were alone in the same room, his eyes made me nervous. Sometimes he tried to start small, unnecessary conversations. Sometimes he stood too close. I avoided him whenever I could. One afternoon, I was reading in the living room. Clara was at work, and Ethan came home early. He sat across from me and asked about my studies. I gave short answers, hoping he would leave. But then his tone changed. He said softly, "Lena, you are very beautiful. Do you know that?" My heart stopped. I froze in my chair. His words felt heavy, wrong, dangerous. I stood up quickly, pretending I had some work in the kitchen. My hands trembled as I washed the same plate again and again. He walked away as if nothing had happened, but I knew the truth now. That evening, I couldn't eat. Clara noticed. "Lena, are you sick?" she asked kindly. I forced a smile. "No, I'm just tired." But inside, my heart was breaking. How could I tell her? She loved Ethan so much. She trusted him completely. For days, I stayed silent. I thought, maybe he will stop. Maybe if I avoid him, things will be fine. But things only grew worse. Ethan began to drop small hints when Clara wasn't around. His words became bolder, his eyes clearer. I was scared. One evening, I was walking back to my apartment after class. The corridor was quiet. Suddenly, Ethan stepped out from a corner. Before I could move, he came close and whispered, "Lena, you drive me crazy." His eyes looked different, dark, hungry. I stepped back, but he blocked my way. He reached out and touched my arm, slowly sliding his hand toward my shoulder. My whole body froze. "Please stop," I whispered, but he leaned closer. For a moment, I felt his breath near my ear as he said, "Don't fight it. I know you feel the same." My heart pounded. Fear rushed through me. With all my strength, I pushed him away and ran down the stairs, tears blurring my vision. My hand shook so badly I could hardly unlock the door when I reached home. I locked myself inside, pressed my back against the door, and cried until my chest hurt. That night, I couldn't sleep. His touch, his words, they replayed in my mind like a nightmare. Finally, I couldn't keep silent any longer. One night, Clara and I sat on the balcony. The sky was full of stars. She was smiling as she spoke about her work. I looked at her face, the same face that had cared for me since childhood. Tears filled my eyes. "Clara," I whispered, "I need to tell you something." She grew serious immediately. "What is it, Lena?" I hesitated. My voice shook. "It's about Ethan." Her smile faded. She looked at me carefully. I told her everything, his stares, his words, his behavior. As I spoke, tears ran down my cheeks. I expected her to get angry, to accuse me of lying. But Clara didn't shout. She sat still, listening to every word. Her hands trembled. When I finished, there was silence. Then softly she said, "I believe you." Hearing those words, I broke down completely. I cried in her arms. She held me tightly, though I could feel her own heart breaking. From that night, everything changed. Clara confronted Ethan. At first he denied it, but when she pressed harder, he admitted the truth. Clara's world shattered. The man she had trusted most had betrayed her. It was not easy. Clara cried for many nights. I felt guilty, as if I had destroyed her marriage. But she told me firmly, "Lena, never blame yourself. The fault is not yours. You only showed me the truth. You protected me." With time, Clara became stronger. She made a difficult decision and ended her marriage with Ethan. It was painful, but she chose dignity and peace over a false relationship. Today, years later, we are still together, just the two of us. Life is not perfect, but it is honest. Clara tells me often, "Trust is the root of every relationship. Without it, love cannot survive." And I have learned something important. Silence only gives power to wrong people. Speaking the truth may hurt for a while, but it saves us in the end. Always trust your inner voice. Never ignore the wrong, even if it comes from someone close. Truth may break hearts, but lies destroy lives. Thank you for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and share it with friends who are also learning English. Your support helps me bring more stories for you. See you in the next one.